Sonic R on the Sega Saturn is considered to have some of the worst controls in any video game. Some gamers have actually gone as far to say that you can't even move in a straight line in this game because the controls are so bad. In truth, when you first play this game, especially if you're just not used to these type of controls, it's gonna seem that way. Especially if you start this game as Sonic, which is pretty much everybody's mistake because naturally everybody wants to play as Sonic. Unfortunately, he doesn't control as well as other characters do. Tails and Knuckles have the ability to fly, so they're easier to control, so when you first start this game, especially if you don't have the 3D control pad for the Sega Saturn, and you're using a D-pad instead, my advice is definitely use Tails or Knuckles until you adapt to these controls. With that being said, you can actually improve your performance to get used to these controls and get a much better performance out of these controls. Okay, you're probably looking at the footage right now and you're suddenly being like, wait a minute, how's he suddenly doing so much better? And to answer your question, no, I'm not cheating. The reason I'm able to do these really nice turns is because I'm using the 3D analog stick on the Sega Saturn's 3D control pad. And if you know how to use it right, you can actually get these type of controls. Now don't get me wrong, these are not perfect, and it still takes a lot of effort out of you to get these types of controls. But I will tell you, it does definitely make the game more enjoyable because you can finally control these characters to a decent degree. Dent. You can actually run in a straight line and you can do all kinds of sharp turns, which is nice. Now in about 30 seconds you're gonna see what I've done is I recorded footage of me using my 3D controller along with this game. Now I recorded all 5 races, but unfortunately due to technical difficulties, I only have footage of me using my 3D controller for 3 of them. But what you're going to see is you're going to see my exact movements with the 3D's analog stick, so that you can get the idea of what you have to do in Sonic R to get these type of controls. That way you know how to actually play this game correctly. It can actually improve your experience with this game.
Go!
If you guys are watching my movements on my 3D controller, I'm not constantly moving my thumb all the way to the left or right like you would in like Mario Kart 64. That's not the same thing here. The 3D analog stick for this game's controls requires very precise movements. Like you might have to do a slight turn to the left or right. The only time you should move your analog stick all the way to the left or right is when you have to do a sharp, fast turn. Other than that, though, like I said, you have to be very precise with when you move your joystick. Otherwise, you will go all over the place. But like I said, these controls are not perfect. I am still smashing into walls, but in truth, it's not necessarily because of the controls, but because of me, because I was actually recording this through a very small screen on my computer, so I didn't have the best visual reference, so sometimes I would not see something until it was too late. But, that being said, you guys can see that you can actually get much better controls out of this game. And it can make the game a lot more fun.
Ready, set, go!
But like I said, you're not going to be able to play this game 100% perfect. You're still going to smash into things, but in truth, you do the same thing in Mario Kart 64. Though granted, it's going to happen more often here because these tracks also have a lot of sharp turns. My point here is you can actually get better controls out of this game and can actually make the game actually playable.
Ready, set, go!
Okay guys, unfortunately, like I said, I don't have the footage for this one or for the next race because, well, I do have it, but unfortunately me and my camera assistant, the way we recorded this, we had some trouble and I had a hard time aligning this stuff up correctly. And some of it might be a smidge off. Anyway, I spent hours trying to find key reference points so that I could line this up correctly. But I just couldn't find it for this one and for the next race, so I gave up. But you will see the visual reference again in the Emerald race. Now guys, looking at the game footage again, like I said, I'm still crashing into walls to an extent, but I'm not doing it as much as I would normally, because you guys have seen some really bad gameplay footage of this. Like I said guys, these controls are not like Mario Kart 64, they're nowhere near as good as that, but they're not necessarily that bad if you know what you're doing. Like you saw what just happened, I was able to do a pretty sharp turn. This particular race, guys, has a lot of sharp turns, so I might be bashing all over the place a little bit. But on the other hand, I'm also going to be doing some impressive turns from time to time. So as I said, guys, you're definitely going to see better gameplay than what you normally would see for this. Like, see right here, I was able to do a sharp turn. As you guys are seeing, I'm able to do quite a few sharp turns in this race. Like I said, it's not perfect, I'm still crashing into stuff a little bit, but it definitely shows that you can definitely get much better controls out of this and it can make the game more playable.
Ready, set, go!
Okay guys, as you can see, this level's got a lot of sharp turns and angles, and it makes it hard for me to turn, but I can do it, and I can actually have some decent performance here. Like I said, granted, I'm still gonna bash into things, but it's not necessarily totally because of the controls. Okay guys, my point is this. These controls are not great, that's the truth, but you can definitely get some decent performance out of these controls if you take the time to learn them. However, if you don't think you're willing to take the time to learn these controls, then my advice is go check out their version on the GameCube. They drastically overhauled the controls and they're much better. I found that version to be definitely more playable. And I think there's also a version on the PS3 now, if I'm not mistaken, for download. And I think that version has also got drastic improvements in its controls. But like I said though, for the Saturn version here, you can definitely get some good controls. It's surprising, but you can definitely do it. So my advice is, if you're gonna get this game, just be aware of playing it, that it's gonna take some time to get used to these controls. Anyway guys, I'm gonna close this out by letting you guys see the rest of this footage. I will talk to you guys later. This is the Entertainment Wizard, signing off.